fin de fiesta. Bueno, fin de fiesta no, que de luego tenemos networking para el que se quiera quedar a tomarse unas cervezas o lo que sea. Tenemos el final del TecnoFor ITSM Day, por favor. Su turno, Alexey. Subas.
Hola.
Alexey, que tiene el enorme reto de hablarnos de ITIL 4 en este momento para cerrar el evento y hablarnos de qué propone ITIL para el 2023. ¿Qué se lleva en esta temporada?
Muy bien, sí. Buenas tardes. Yo voy a switchar a inglés porque como represento la compañía internacional y aquí tenemos parte del equipo nuestro que es Petrov, I will switch to English. So we are here to give an overview for 2023 of the tendency that we have in the market adopted for ITIL 4 and for ITSM companies who are using ITIL 4 or are using ITIL, let's say, in this case. But obviously, we're ready for any kind of a discussion in ITIL 4, and I will explain you why ITIL 2, for example, is still possible. I have here a small copybook because the last changes of my presentation happened this Sunday. So we still are, a lot of stuff are in the kitchen of PeopleCert. So right now we're switching to, well, okay, that's me. I was doing the IT job since 1999. Previously, I worked for IBM during more than 13 years. Then Hewlett-Packard in areas of software and in area of software services. So my first certification was in ITIL Foundation in 2007. That was version 3. And from 2014, I was working in services team where we implemented the technical solutions on the ITSM based on Hewlett-Packard software. I'm based in Spain. I worked as a freelance, and I am an old friend of Axelis company who was acquired a couple of years ago by PeopleCert. And now I will explain you a little bit more about the structure. So let's getting back to the ITIL. Well, it was appeared in 1980s. It was a UK government program where UK said that they need to make something more controlled and managed in the area of service management. So they invented the first version of ITIL, de facto, which was called GTIM. The transcription of GTIM, I can tell you what is it exactly, but it's not very important. It's Government Information Technology Infrastructure Management Method. So it was still, from that point of time, very important that services should be controlled. In 2000s, well, in 1989, the first ITIL appeared. It was called ITIL since that time. In early 2000s, there was version 2 appeared. That was actually 2 books, famous service delivery and service support, 2 certifications. And at that moment, the British Service Institute invented the standard which was called BS 15,000. Based on BS 15,000, ISO 20,000 was born. So ISO 20,000, which was mentioned by you, it was based it's a standard of service management. It was based on UK standards. So it's mostly the same, certified by different organizations. So it's quite understandable, the evolution of the companies at that level. In 2007, appeared the version 3, where we had the first famous wheel of service lifecycle there. It was about 26 processes, 5 books, and something like that. Still not very comfortable for reading. It was really hard in UK, British, English language. But in 2018, there was a light facelifting, and it became a little bit more readable and more connected to business. So it was quite understandable already. In 2013, if I'm not mistaken, the company named Axelos appeared in the market. So British government commissioned this company for service management for ITIL certifications. So half of it was belonging still to Her Majesty and government structure, and half of it was Capita. In Axelos appeared the very good book, which was called ITIL Practitioner. It appeared in 2016. Very good book, very bad exam. But this book is very important for the evolution of ITIL. The current version of ITIL Foundation book, it's mainly based on this ITIL Practitioner material. And 7 principles, which we were discussing with Oscar, were born in this book. So it's very, very useful nowadays. ITIL 4 appeared in 2019, yes, in the beginning. The first book appeared. It was called ITIL Foundation, the first exam. Then in the end of 2019, 2 more books, and the beginning of 2020, 2 more books. There are 5 core books. And now we have ITIL 4 with new certifications, new titles, which are very important for current practical use in the market for the organizations, not only for users, but also for those who dedicate their business to ITSM and to ITIL. Oh, it animates. Beautiful. If we get to scope, that was actually the wheel, which was 5 books previously: service strategy, service design, service transition, service operation, and continual improvement. These 5 books, 5 areas or 5 phases of a cycle, was as a classical model of life cycle which appeared in version 3. But there was a gap between service design and service transition, which is called service development. At that moment, the development part was not very much important to be standardized, because it was a tendency that it's supposed to be outsourced and it's supposed to be a commodity. It's supposed to be, the user was supposed to acquire it, to buy it from outside, and to put it somewhere in their structure and somewhere in their processes. So now we have reworked all this structure, and we found out that this is the gap should be filled. So the new cycle, which is not actually a cycle itself now, in ITIL 4, has a special place for obtain or for the build, which is obtaining from outside or building inside. So all the DevOps, agile stuff, virtualization stuff appeared in this segment. Here we have the value chain, which is quite self-explicable. And it's a good point that we, in current scope, we reflect that part of the service development phase. Guiding principles that I was mentioning in the practitioner that are supposed to be somehow reflected in some situations by the company who are using ITIL halfly or fully. Always start where you are. Don't let it, let's say next Monday I will start this. So start it today, because today we need to realize that we have that need. Tomorrow will be another. Focus on the value. We always need a spotlight where we go. Then we create the progress which is interactive with the feedback. We always supposed to get the feedback from the users, from the partners, from everybody who is involved. Collaborate, crossover vertically and horizontally. Think and work holistically. Keep it simple and practical. Optimize and automate. Here we come with our friends from Atlassian or whatever vendor is using in the market some customer. But here are the tools and automation recommendations. So these are also reflected in ITIL 4. We'll talk a little bit some more later. So framework architecture. Important is that previously in version 3, the books contained the theory of this certain phase of the journey with the processes inside. So every book contained some processes that were studied by the people, and to get certified you need to pass all the exam and to get certified in different processes that some of them might not be needed in your organization. Now ITIL 4 separated the practices in a separate kind of deliverable or a product of PeopleCert Access. And we still have books. We have practices. It's more applicable for the business. It's more easy to read. It's very, it's sexy, let's say. And the third thing that we have, the assessment tool, which is the maturity model. Officially, if you Google Axelis ITIL maturity model, you will see on the first page that this book, maturity model, is in a free access. This is really so because this is the model that is used for the consulting partners or for the particular customers to estimate how their organization match some kind of readiness for a service management or complex service management, let's say. We also can talk about a little bit some more in next slides. 5 books. So that's what appeared right now in ITIL 4. 2 blue ones appeared after the first foundation one, and then green and red appeared the next year in 2020. Practices, what we have now is 34 practice guides. They are available through the MyAxelis subscription. When you go it is actually, you can buy it on the subscription per year. It makes sense to do because you have a lot of different information which is beyond the practice guides themselves. There are a lot of more publications that can be accessible for you. It's about 50 or 60 euros or pounds the year of subscription. But also the people who certify now has it looks like 90 days of access of MyAxelis page where you can download and see the materials of the practices and study them. The practices, you go directly after the foundation. Now you can have the possibility to get certified in each and every practice and get the bundle of them and collect the practices, whatever you want. For example, the practice is called incident management. Before it was a process, now it's a practice, and you can be certified only in that and nothing else. And this is the thing that it's still not very much known in the market. And this is really cool stuff to get acquainted with, to get known. So as I say, we got rid of processes and we switched to the practices. What are the differences? Process is a bundle of activities which take you from inputs to outputs. Just technical, linear activity order. Practices, and this answer on the question what you are doing. Practices, you do not only what you are doing, but how you are doing it, with whom you are doing it, when you are doing it, by what means you are doing it. So they answer a lot of more questions inside. Each practice can bring more than one process. For example, the same incident management or configuration management, they are talking about if we see the Deming cycle, plan, do, check, act, we have the do process, which is detecting incidents, and we do have plan, check, act process, which is evaluate and prepare for the next types of incidents and analyze them. So we separated that in different processes, but it is inside of the same practice. Now in 2023, we have updated the 15 practices guides. 5 of them is already on. Next 5 is appearing in July, and the last 5 are appearing in September of this year. I can tell you more what it is about and why it is important. Somebody can ask, why 15 practices? These 15 practices, actually you can recognize this by the names, are the most important ones that are inside of the ITIL Foundation. So this is the ones that Axeles and PeopleCert decided to start with. And this is the one that, the ones that right now might be more demanded on the market. If we go into the practice guide structure itself, what in particular is changed comparing to ITIL version 3, I'm sorry, to ITIL version 4 of 2019 to ITIL version 4 of 2023. Here we invented value stream contribution, so each practice can be mapped through the value stream. It's, well, you can see it in every book. You will see the value stream, which you can find in every, in the book, but also in the foundation book, but also in every practice guide. There is a value stream mapping, so you can estimate how it is laying down through your organization. Then you have organizational structures and team. It's more time dedicated to organize the people around the certain practice application. Then we have automation and tooling. Tools were before, but automation recommendation appeared now. So it's already there. You can go directly to your practice guide and see what kind of automation can be used to get this practice in life in your environment. Then we have quite important stuff here, capability assessment and development. This is based on the maturity model which I was mentioned. Maturity model is estimating and assessing the organization, not only about the ITIL readiness, but in general, how is the organization is doing now. Capability assessment, it's more connected to the particular practice. So you have the method in maturity model, but you have capability levels, capability self-assessment, and capability development only for the particular practice. All 34 sets can only be done by consulting partner, which we have in the market. TecnoFor is a training partner, so to get the title of consulting partner is supposed to get special program and to switch to that program to do the consulting and make the official certification to a certain organization. Is it ready for certain practice or a set of practices or not? And also recommendation for practice success. So there we have practice success factors, which we can see later also. And we can map what we are doing against the practice success factors. For example, the same incident management have the PSF, which is detect an incident as early as possible. Then you have resolve the incident as fast as possible. And then you have reuse and keep the data of previously resolved incidents to get it more effective for the future. So you have 3 success factors. And when you go through all of them, all 3 of them are in place, then you can consider that this practice is well suited in your organization. It might be still different levels of it, but it is already there. Here we go to the maturity model. Maturity assessment of the service value system of the organization. So it's not about the ITIL readiness, it's about the maturity and any kind of model that you have there, or policy, or whatever. But if you have something already applied and you have organization structured and standardized, you already might have the maturity level that lets you go into a change, in this case into the service management or ITIL implementation. Capability assessment, as I said, that's the part goes with a certain practice that you want to apply. Assessment of the IT service governance and management system. As I said, it's not only about the ITIL, and this is available through the XLS consulting partners. ACPs, it's a list, you can get it from XLS or PeopleCert anytime. Capability criteria. As I said, we have couple of criteria per practice. It's all defined by ITIL 4 and renewed this year. Some of them describe all the 34 sets of capabilities required for the practice to fulfill its purpose. And you have the levels of the PSF. It's important to say that it's mapped to 4 dimensions of service management, where we have processes, people, practices, and technology, as we mentioned in previous speakers. Yeah. That's exactly one of the PSF of incident management practice. So here we have the list of criteria in English. Criterion, first, incidents are usually detected immediately after they occur. That is how it's mapped on the processes, technology, people, partners, and whatever. And that's the capability level. Capability level, it is the scale which you can estimate how well this practice fits to your organization. If we go directly to the levels, we have initial or intuitive, which is if we have not all these three success factors like detect, resolve, or reuse the knowledge, if some of them is missed, you have the first level. So it's still not there. And then you have a little bit hardly seen, but there are sections of the book, of the practice guide, where you can map a certain capability level if you go through deeper and deeper in your practice. So you can apply your practice in the first year and you go deep, more deep in next year. For example, going down and developing this practice in the organization. Important to say and to respond to the people in the market who say that ITIL4 is not practical. Getting back to the example of version 2, this is very important to say that I mentioned that that circle was a gap between transition and on the life cycle. There was a gap for service development. That is the virtualization that we apply since now. You can use whatever standard you want, even ITIL version 1, if you really stick to some kind of order that you are used to use. You can keep with it. If it works, don't touch it, as always say technical guys. And this is very important that you can dedicate your specialists since now only to certify in incident management, in release management, in problem management, and configuration management. So that's the answer in the question of those who can ask, Pepe, if, Petrov, see, I'm sorry, yeah, I'm sorry, who can ask you about what do you do if your specialist is not currently certified with your ITIL version 2, because nobody certifies in version 2 now. You can do this certain practice and certify this guy who will be responsible for your process, for your practice now, and you can use it. So it's becoming more practical and more useful now in the market when you are going to a certain company that is using something which they don't want to change. It is more flexible and more practical. So let's get to what we have now on the certification level. Here we have our 5 books: ITIL Foundation, Create, Deliver, and Support, Drive Stakeholder Value, High Velocity IT, Direct, Plan, and Approve. These 5 are core books of ITIL version 4. We have the 6th book, which appeared not so long ago, Digital and IT Strategy, which is belonging to ITIL Leader certification. And this is the way how you can get this certification. So this structure is now added with ITIL Practice Manager, who can do the ITIL Foundation, the CDS book, and any 5 practice guides certifications. And you have designated level of a practitioner. We have extension models here, which are, some of them are away, so foundation is not a prerequisite for acquiring and managing cloud services and sustainability in digital and IT. You can go directly there and you get certified for those. But this BRM and IT asset management is coming this year, and they are decided to be moved in a separate blocks because it's quite important stuff and a lot of demand are going on that kind of practices. If we go next level, here we have the small stars because this is the designation that if you pass this exam, and any 5 of those, you get automatically the level of ITIL practice manager. If you have strategic leader, MP and PM, you automatically get the master. So it's 2 designation levels since now are available in ITIL for certification. Subway map. This is actually what we do right now. It's the same story. I'm just repeating you that you start from ITIL 4 Foundation and you go directly to whatever you want. If you want a practice manager, you have the way through 5 certifications. You can choose any 5 from any bundle. There are 5 only. Or you go express. When you go plan, implement, and control, pre-packed bundle, and you certify with this. These are 5 one-day courses, and this is 1 3-day courses for these 5 practices. It's quite easy and quite flexible to get certified. For those who want still to get more conservative way certification, it's much easier to get the 3-day course, to get the whole bundle, that's it. But if you are very specific and you need very specific specialists certified in certain practices, you can choose from those you want 6 or 7 certification. Obviously, you can do that. You get create, deliver, and support, and you get the PM title. In this journey of Subway Map, you obviously can see all these 4 dimensions of service management. Customer journey, services. Well, actually, all you have in the books are in here. So different books can have this very fundamental stuff that you probably already saw in the books. They're all there. I didn't forget anything. Okay. Just released these first five practices. They're all renewed in the My Axelos. You can log into the site and get the new version of it. So this bundle is collectively known as Monitor, Support, and Fulfill. You can apply for this course and certify in this 3-day course. You get these 5 practices certification. This what I was explaining. This dotted line is still under construction. These lines are not ready yet, but the first line works. Second line will appear this July, and the third one is appearing in September this year. And we have 10 more practices. Actually, all this probably, I don't know, service desk, incident management, problem management, service release, asset management, deployment management, whatever we have now, they're all here. All which is not here, as I said, all 34 cannot be here this year. It's a lot of work. And this 15 is here because they analyzed the demand and they analyzed the necessity and the marketing perspectives with these 15 coming this year. As I said, the designation levels, you have 5 practices and CDS, you get the practice manager, and you have 3 big certifications, you get automatically the ITIL master. The first ITIL masters already certified, and we have it already published, the first certifications. TecnoFor people cert, okay, we still have this slide which was supposed to get removed, but anyway. We have certifications, we have trainings, we have ITIL promotion, like we collaborate with TecnoFor on different areas. So courses are there, contact Pablo, contact Emilio, whomever, about the People Cert new certifications. Myself, your trainers, getting back again, we still stick to guiding principles in 2023. It's very useful. It is done in ITIL practitioner book, which is very, very important phase for the evolution. And here we go. Thank you so much.
Perfect.
Okay.
What do you think we can answer the questions in English, in Spanish? What do you prefer?
I can try to do it in Spanish.
In Spanish.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, all right.
No hay ningún problema, sí.
Perfect. Tu español es mejor que mi inglés, así que vayamos allá. ¿Cuál dirías que es el principio clave de ITIL 4, el que marca la diferencia con las versiones anteriores?
No sé si me ha respondido esta pregunta, si está todavía activa, porque la diferencia son, está más práctico, está más usable para cada tipo de negocio. Puedes elegir las prácticas, es decir, procesos de cualquier tipo de especialidad de la empresa. Y eso es el más principal y más importante. También cosa importante, que era antes. Antes, para certificar en un libro que tenía varios procesos, te obligaba a pasar mucho conocimiento, mucha información que no estaba usando. Y estaba mucho cereal en tu cabeza, con todos los detalles que no estaba preparado para usar, no está aplicable. Y estaba perdiendo información porque tenía que pasar primero por el libro. No recuerdas bien porque está en inglés. Luego con el speaker. Con el speaker no recuerdas todo, no estás leyendo todo lo que está anotado. Recuerdas los slides, pero slides te viene solo algo muy, muy, muy pequeño. Entonces, cada paso tenía reducción de información que estaba recibiendo. Ahora es mucho más lacónico, mucho más práctico para usar, es mucho más flexible en el mundo de cada empresa.
Como nuestra época, como la época en la que vivimos, que hay que ser más, más directo,
claro,
más sintético.
Es justo como estaba en la empresa que está usando la versión 2. Es muy posible, o Oscar que estaba diciendo que hay una empresa o un cliente que no quiere usar todos los 7 principios de ITIL. No hace falta. Es decir, si tú lo usas 2 principios o 3, ya está bien. Porque paso por paso. Es decir, que si tú no estás listo para hacer esto, no te esfuerzas. Dedica tu tiempo y tu recurso a otra cosa y desarrolla. Es decir, que ahora es mucho más flexible. Eso es la mayor diferencia de ITIL versión 3.
De ITIL 4 versión respecto a...
Sí, y a ITIL 4 anterior, claro.
Perfecto. Siguiente pregunta. ¿Cuál es el futuro de ITIL? ¿Se esperan nuevas versiones pronto?
Buena pregunta. Hasta me autoriza a decir que esto lo que está en el slide, yo puedo decir. Algunas cosas más.
¿Alguna otra pregunta?
Última cosa que me han tirado de la presentación era este domingo. Lo que tengo aquí anotado, varias cosas que tengo que decir o no tengo que decir. Es decir, que no lo sé. Actualmente hay mucha gente dedicada para hacer segunda bloque de prácticas para salir en julio. para tercer bloque de práctica para salir en septiembre, para 2 prácticas principales que van a ser libros separados, BRM y Asset Management. Está muy ocupada la gente. Por eso no lo sé sobre la versión 5, supongo es la pregunta. No lo sé. No lo sabemos. Es que cuando me van a decir, voy a decir a Pablo.
Y por tanto, nosotros a
Sí.
vosotros. Bien, siguiente pregunta. ¿Es posible, está tirada también con bala, ¿es posible la coexistencia de diferentes versiones de ITIL en el mismo entorno empresarial?
Y sí y no, supongo. Es mi respuesta personal. ¿Por qué? Por ejemplo, si tenemos un ejemplo como empresa que está usando una versión anterior con unos procesos bien establecidos que nadie tiene que tocar, que está funcionando muy bien, que todas las instrucciones, todas las indicaciones están escritas, todas las políticas están hechas, y al mismo tiempo empieza un equipo de DevOps trabajando al lado, no hay ningún problema certificar a esta gente en la versión 4 de ITIL y dedicarlos a trabajar con DevOps, con Service Development. Justo lo que estuvimos hablando. Es decir, no hay ningún problema si hay una parte que va a ser funcionando en Agile, colaborar con otra parte que funciona con Waterfall. No hay ningún problema.
Estupendo.
Muy
y
bien.
tenemos la última pregunta, la última, porque
Sí.
ya vamos overtime. Desde los 80 hasta el 2023, la tecnología ha cambiado un montón, pero ITSM no lo ha hecho. ¿Por qué? O no ha cambiado en la misma medida, porque cambiar ha cambiado mucho. O sea,
El
ya os digo
nombre
yo,
no cambia, pero el concepto de Service Management, última versión de ISO 20000, me parece que es 2018, me parece, que está publicada. Si lo metes ahí más fácil, más rápido, en el Google se puede ver. Pero yo pienso que sí hay cambios en el TCM. Hay cambios en diferentes aspectos, hay cambios en tipo de servicios, en velocidad de sacar servicios al mercado, es a la adoptación de los servicios de cada usuario. Hay cambios a partir de este momento, obviamente, pero no son de ITIL, son dos cosas separadas. Es decir, que ITSM está basado en ITIL, pero no es como todo ITSM es todo el ITIL, no. ITIL es una cosa, ITSM es otra cosa, sí.
fantástico.
No sé si he respondido.
Alexey,
Sí, último, ¿no?
lo dejamos aquí.
Vale.
Lo dejamos aquí. Muchísimas gracias, Alexey, por
Muchísimo
acompañarnos.
de nada, un placer.
Y esto dura hasta aquí, pero no podemos irnos sin hacer 3 agradecimientos. El primero, y no está previsto, es mío a vosotros. Este evento, llevo unos cuantos añitos organizando eventos, este evento ni se parecería a lo que ha resultado sin el pedazo de preguntas que habéis hecho. Cuando organizas un evento, siempre está buscando la complicidad del público, llegarles, saber que te están entendiendo, que le estás generando un impacto. Las preguntas han sido buenísimas, muy bien enfocadas, muy bien orientadas. Muchísimas gracias por ser una parte tan activa de este evento. No habéis venido solamente a estar, a ver qué os contaban, sino a participar. Y hace que este evento sea muchísimo mejor. Muchas gracias. Y me quedan 2 agradecimientos a nuestros patrocinadores, a People Third. Muchas gracias, Alexey. Muchas gracias, Petrov, por vuestro apoyo para hacer posible este evento, para poder sufragar los gastos que esto supone. Y, por supuesto, Atlassian. Atlassian, que ha sido un protagonista fundamental, tanto aportándonos el apoyo para poder organizar este evento, como apoyándonos personalmente, presencialmente y trayéndonos un speaker de primer nivel. Así que muchísimas gracias a PeopleCert, muchísimas gracias a Atlassian y nos vemos el año que viene sin falta. Y ahora quedan oficialmente ustedes invitados a tomar algo, aquellos que les apetezca. Muchas gracias.